Hello everybody! If you want to read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short Story 683, The Whispering Shadows. Intermediate. In the quiet village of Eldridge, nestled among ancient hills, lived a woman named Clara. She was 40 years old, with sharp eyes and a curious mind. After her husband died suddenly 2 years ago, she moved into an old cottage on the edge of the forest. The house was beautiful but creaky, with wooden floors that groaned like old bones, and walls covered in faded wallpaper. At first, everything seemed peaceful. Clara spent her days gardening and reading books by the fire. But one autumn evening, as the wind howled outside, she heard it, a soft whisper. It came from the hallway, like someone murmuring secrets. "Hello?" she called out, her heart beating faster. There was no answer, only silence. She shook her head, thinking it was just the wind playing tricks. The whispers returned the next night, louder this time. Clara lay in bed, listening. The words were unclear, but they sounded sad, almost pleading. "Who are you?" she whispered back, but again, nothing. In the morning she found a small, dusty key on her kitchen table. It hadn't been there before. Where did it come from? She searched the house but found no lock that matched it. Days passed and strange things happened. Shadows seemed to move on their own in the corners of rooms, even when the sun was shining. Objects disappeared and reappeared in odd places. A book on the stairs, a teacup in the garden. Clara felt watched, as if invisible eyes followed her every step. She told her neighbour, old Mr. Hawkins, about it. He laughed nervously. "That house has stories," he said. "Built over a century ago by a family who vanished one night. Folks say their spirits linger." Clara didn't believe in ghosts, but doubt crept in. One stormy night, the whispers grew into voices. She followed them to the attic, a place she rarely visited. Dust covered everything, and cobwebs hung like veils. In the far corner, behind a stack of boxes, she saw a hidden door. Her hands trembled as she tried the mysterious key. It fit perfectly. The door creaked open, revealing a small room filled with old letters and photographs. She sat on the floor and read. The letters were from a woman named Elisa, who lived in the house long ago. Elisa wrote of a forbidden love with a man from the village and a terrible secret. Her family had locked her away to hide a pregnancy. The last letter was desperate. "They will never find us. We escaped tonight." In the photographs, Clara saw a face that looked just like her own, her great-grandmother, Elisa. Suddenly, the whispers stopped. A cold breeze filled the room, and Clara felt a gentle touch on her shoulder, like a farewell. She understood now. The spirits had been waiting for someone to uncover the truth, to set them free. Elisa and her child had fled, starting a new life far away, but the house held their echoes until the story was known. Clara burned the letters in the fireplace, whispering, "Rest now." The shadows faded, and the house felt warm again. She never heard the whispers after that. Instead, she lived in peace, knowing her family's past had finally been laid to rest. Vocabulary notes. Nestled. Definition: positioned comfortably or securely in a sheltered or hidden place, often suggesting coziness or protection. Example: in the quiet village of Eldridge, nestled among ancient hills, lived a woman named Clara. This shows how the village is tucked away safely between the hills. Similar words. Snug. Comfortably enclosed, e.g., the cat was snug in the blanket. Tucked. Placed in a folded or hidden position, e.g., the letter was tucked inside the book. Embedded. Firmly fixed within something, e.g., the jewel was embedded in the rock. Creaky. Definition. Making a harsh, high-pitched sound when moved, often due to age or wear, like old wood or doors. Example, the house was beautiful but creaky, with wooden floors that groaned like old bones. This describes the noisy, aged quality of the house's structure. Similar words. Squeaky, producing a short, high-pitched noise, e.g., the squeaky wheel needs oil. Rickety, unstable and likely to make noise or collapse, e.g., the rickety bridge shook underfoot. Groaning, making a deep, low sound of strain, e.g., the groaning door opened slowly. Whisper. Definition. To speak very softly or quietly, often to keep something secret or to avoid being heard. Example, she heard it, a soft whisper. It came from the hallway, like someone murmuring secrets. Here the whisper adds to the mysterious and eerie atmosphere. Similar words. Murmur, to speak in a low, indistinct voice, e.g., the crowd began to murmur in excitement. Mutter, to speak quietly in complaint or anger, e.g., he muttered under his breath about the delay. Hiss, to speak in a sharp, whispering tone, often angrily, e.g., she hissed a warning to be quiet. Tremble. Definition. To shake slightly, usually from fear, cold, or excitement, often involuntary. Example, her hands trembled as she tried the mysterious key. This illustrates Clara's nervousness while opening the hidden door. Similar words. Shiver. To shake from cold or fear, e.g., she shivered in the chilly wind. Quiver. To tremble with a slight rapid motion, e.g., his voice quivered with emotion. Shake. To move back and forth uncontrollably, e.g., the ground shook during the earthquake. Forbidden. Definition. Not allowed or permitted, often because of rules, laws, or social norms. Example, the letters were from a woman named Elisa, who lived in the house long ago. Elisa wrote of a forbidden love with a man from the village. This refers to a romance that was not approved by her family. Similar words. Prohibited. Officially not allowed, e.g., smoking is prohibited in this area. Taboo. Strongly discouraged by society, e.g., in some cultures, certain foods are taboo. Banned. Forbidden by law or authority, e.g., the book was banned in several countries. Story written by Grok 4 AI. Image created by Grok 4 AI. To read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.
Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today we're really digging into short story 683, The Whispering Shadows. It's got this fantastic mix, real gothic vibes, but also this deep, kind of sad family secret.
Yeah, it centers on Clara, right? She moves into this old creaky cottage in a place called Eldridge 2 years after her husband passed away.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to unpack how this story works.
Right. We want to look at the The narrative structure, the tools the author uses to build that creepy atmosphere. And language is key here, how words paint the picture.
Like that description of Eldridge.
Yeah, exactly. It's described as nestled among ancient hills. Think about that word, nestled. It suggests like safety, comfort.
Snug, almost. Tucked away.
Precisely. Which is such a great contrast to what starts happening inside the house. It creates this immediate tension, this dramatic irony.
And that internal stuff starts fast. Claire is there trying to heal, but the house itself seems unsettled. The floors groan, which is classic, but then the whispers start.
Soft whispers. Sad pleading, the story says.
Yeah.
Coming from the hallway. Like someone's murmuring secrets, right? It's purely auditory at first.
Which is creepy enough, but then it gets physical.
It does. And this is where I think the author cleverly grounds the haunting. It's not just feelings or sounds anymore. Suddenly there's this small, dusty key just appears on the kitchen table.
Out of nowhere.
Right. And shadows move when they shouldn't. Objects disappear and reappear in weird places. A book ends up on the stairs. A teacup in the garden.
Okay, so the ghost or whatever it is starts interacting directly, pushing her.
Definitely pushing her. And then there's the neighbor, Mr. Hawkins, adding to it with that warning, the house is over a century old, built by a family who just vanished.
So all these little physical things, the key, the book, they build up. They make the whispers impossible to ignore.
Exactly. They give Clara the motivation, the need to investigate further. It leads her to the climax. She follows those voices, which get louder, up to the attic.
The dusty, forgotten attic, and finds a hidden door.
A hidden door. And that key she found earlier, it fits. The text says it fits perfectly. That word choice is important. It's the click, the moment of revelation starting.
So what's behind the door? What's the big secret?
It's a hidden room filled with letters and photographs. They belong to a woman named Eliza who lived there a long, long time ago.
Eliza? And the secret?
It was a forbidden love. She fell for a man from the village, got pregnant, and her family apparently locked her away to hide the scandal.
Oh, that's brutal. And that word, forbidden, it carries so much weight, doesn't it? Prohibited, taboo.
Absolutely. It immediately tells you why the secret was kept so fiercely, why it was so damaging. It left these echoes. The stakes were incredibly high back then.
And there's a final note from Eliza.
Yes, a really desperate one. It just says, they will never find us. We escaped tonight, which is just heartbreakingly ambiguous. Did they escape? What happened?
But the biggest twist, the real aha moment, is for Clara herself.
Right. She puts it all together and realizes Eliza was her own great-grandmother.
Wow. So the house wasn't haunted by angry spirits necessarily, but by an untold story, an injustice that needed light.
That seems to be the idea. The whispers, the moving objects, they were like fragments of memory pushing for discovery. Once Clara knows the truth, the presence seems to recede. The house feels different.
Let's circle back to language for a second. You mentioned Clara's physical reaction when she uses the key.
Ah, yes. The text says her hands trembled. It's a small detail, but trembled. Synonyms like quiver or shiver. It does so much work there.
How so?
It physically shows her fear, her nervousness, right at that crucial moment. It transfers that inner tension outward, making the act of turning the key feel huge. It tells you, the listener, something big is about to break open.
So the story really is about uncovering truth to find peace. The house only felt, warm again? After Eliza's story was known, burning the letters provided some closure.
It seems so. It's about the power of acknowledging suppressed history, maybe. That the past doesn't just go away if you ignore it. It waits. Sometimes it whispers.
That's a much deeper take than just a simple ghost story. Okay, before we wrap up, here's something for you to think about. The story uses the word creaky for the cottage, but we talked about synonyms like squeaky, rickety, or even groaning. How do those different words change the feel of the house for you? Which one best captures that sense of age, maybe strain, or that long, painful wait implied by the story? Something to ponder.